You know what the worst feeling in the world is? Have you ever taken out a beautiful chick that you were putting in work in for weeks and weeks and weeks, spending hours before your date trying to look as good as possible, get on the date, show her a good time, the chick thinks you're awesome, you finally are able to close and bring her back home, and there's only one thing getting in your way: yourself. The chick is looking at you while she's in your bed saying, "What's going on?" You're looking back at her saying, "This doesn't happen that frequently. I don't know what's going on. I had a long day at work. I'm just not feeling it." Any excuse possible that will ensure that this woman would hopefully be down to see you again. Dudes, ED is very real. ED really sucks, and ED could hit you at any age. And that's why I highly recommend Roman, because with Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED, all from the comfort and privacy of your own home. You'll get a healthcare professional that will work with you to find the best treatment plan, and if medication is appropriate, Roman will ship you real medicine with free 2-day shipping. So go to getroman.com/flightmike to get $15 off of your first ED treatment. That's roman.com/flightmike for $15 off. And thank you, Roman, for the sponsor.
Beal. Duncan Robinson again. That's good, and the foul. About a 5-second difference, shot clock and game clock. Butler inside, beautiful pass. Nunn pulls back, puts up a three. Got it, Kendrick Nunn. Feed inside to James, and he throws it down.
The right direction. We're gonna learn from this. We're gonna get better. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back. We'll be back, as we were all saying in that locker room. But we got guys that want to do it. We got guys that already want to get back in the gym and get to working at this thing. That's what we do here. But like I said, it was a pleasure to play with these guys. But we're definitely moving in the right direction.
The Los Angeles Lakers officially won the 2020 NBA championship, although it's kind of weird because we're crowning the champion in October, and there's a lot of question marks surrounding what's going to happen next. For example, when is NBA free agency supposed to go down officially? I know most of us aren't that excited about it because I guess this year's top free agent is, Andre Drummond and Fred VanVleet, but I know the NBA draft is supposed to occur in about a month from now, late November, so I'm curious when we could start seeing some player movement and if it's going to happen between this time and the NBA draft or a little bit after. Now, I have a lot to say about this video, man, so smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow, because we just hit 400,000 subscribers on the YouTube, man. Shout outs to you guys for the support. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Guys, I made a video like a couple of days ago, and the title was super controversial, and I don't think a lot of my subscribers understood what the video was about, because to this day, I'm still getting a comment saying, "Mike, I thought the Miami Heat won the NBA Finals," and it's really frustrating when people don't watch the full video, because in that video, I was trying to convey the fact that the Miami Heat won the NBA Finals just by making it to the NBA Finals, because now they're officially a free agent destination as a result of them making it all the way to the NBA Finals. But of course, people just read the title and commented and hated on the video without even seeing it. So I find myself in a situation where I have to further explain where the Miami Heat go from here. What's next for them? First of all, was it even a fluke that they made it to the NBA Finals? And I want you guys to take to the comment section and let me know what you think. If the Brooklyn Nets were fully healthy, would the Miami Heat have made it to the NBA Finals? What if the Milwaukee Bucks finally get stronger and they get themselves a additional star to put next to Giannis Antetokounmpo? Would the Miami Heat make it to the NBA Finals once again? What if the Boston Celtics make some shrewd moves themselves? Or, of course, you cannot forget the Toronto Raptors, who won the NBA Finals the year prior. Well, there's a lot of questions that you could ask about the East, and there's a lot of variables in the East that allowed for the Miami Heat to make it to the NBA Finals. But you have to remember, they were able to beat the defending MVP's team in Giannis Antetokounmpo. They were able to beat a young up-and-coming Boston Celtics team that had made it to the Eastern Conference Finals before with the same core. As a matter of fact, the reason why I think the Miami Heat are so freaking good is because they made it on the back of good game planning and good coaching and good pieces doing what they're good at doing. You have one superstar in Jimmy Butler, surrounded by a myriad of phenomenal role players, and, well, it just seems like they're a piece or two away from making it all the way. And the scary part is they're in a pretty good position to add additional pieces this offseason, and it's not what you think. I don't think this needs to be a top-heavy team. I don't think they need to make a big three. I don't think they even need another star necessarily. They just have to continue bringing in the right pieces. So in this video, we're going to discuss some things that the Miami Heat could do in order to make themselves a little bit better. And to start this all out, we have to discuss what assets the Miami Heat have in their favor. The most underrated asset that they have is they don't have the 29th pick in the NBA draft this year. They have the 20th pick in the NBA draft this year. To give you an idea, they've been historically pretty freaking good at hitting at their draft picks and at developing their talent. Literally, they drafted Tyler Hero last year, Bam Adebayo a few years prior. So far, they haven't really missed on any NBA draft picks. I guess if you want to say Justice Winslow maybe, but even for him, they got a pretty decent return in Andre Iguodala. In addition to this, they have Goran Dragic and Jay Crowder that have expiring contracts themselves, and, well, re-signing them may not be as complicated as you think. So the very first thing that I think the Miami Heat need to do is they need to bring back Goran Dragic and Jay Crowder. And I don't think this is going to be that difficult because Jay Crowder at this point of his career understands that if he isn't on a team that knows how to make the most of his skill set, then he could easily just venture off into obscurity. If you remember what happened during the 2018 season when he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers, this was after the Cavaliers traded Kyrie Irving for both Jay Crowder, Isaiah Thomas, and a bag of peanuts. Well, you would remember that Jay Crowder wasn't that good next to LeBron James. As a matter of fact, when he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers for that season, and it wasn't for very long, he was there for about 53 games in total, Jay Crowder averaged 8.6 points per game off of 39% shooting, and he was playing probably the same amount of minutes as he was throughout his entire career, about 28 minutes. And the moment he left the Cleveland Cavaliers and got traded to the Utah Jazz, well, everything seemed to come together for him. He was once again in a system that utilized his talents, and he really succeeds when he's placed in a system and isn't just asked to be a 3-and-D player that LeBron James could dish it out to hit the wide open three. And that's okay. You know, he knows who he is. So with that being said, now that Jay Crowder is about to hit free agency and is about to turn 30 years old, I think with all that being said, he understands what he needs to look for in his next contract. Same with Goran Dragic. Goran Dragic is about 34 years old, and he's made a ton of money in his career. And I wouldn't be surprised if his primary goal at this stage of his career, after making the amount of money he has made, is to finally win a championship. And I feel like the opportunity to win a championship is very great with the Miami Heat. So if I'm the Heat, the very first thing that I would do is try to bring back Goran Dragic and Jay Crowder on one-year deals. And they don't have to be one-year minimum deals, and I don't expect them to accept one-year minimum deals because at the same time, you will keep your flexibility for next offseason, which is the offseason that you want to maintain your cap space for. That's the offseason where Giannis Antetokounmpo becomes a free agent, where Paul George and Kawhi Leonard could opt out, where Chris Paul could opt out, where Gordon Hayward may become a free agent, where Mike Conley and Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan are going to be free agents, where Jrue Holiday is going to be a free agent. You know, like, I could go on and on about next offseason's free agency. So it behooves the Miami Heat to bring back their key contributors on one-year prove-it deals, which brings me to my next point. They shouldn't try super hard to bring in another star this offseason. You see, like, the only two players that I really see the Miami Heat being able to bring in would be Victor Oladipo or Bradley Beal. And if you think about what they have to do in order to get those players, Victor Oladipo is a phenomenal talent, but I don't think he's so good that he's worth trading for him when he's on an expiring contract so you could guarantee your acquisition of him. And I feel like Pat Riley is just so much smarter than that. You're not going to go and trade for Victor Oladipo when he's going to be a free agent the very next season. Because if you do trade for Victor Oladipo, then you're going to have to give up a bunch of assets. And who knows, do you even want to give up a bunch of assets for Victor Oladipo? Nothing against him, but it's not like the acquisition of him is going to be the difference between a championship and not winning a championship, which is why I really would be against trying to trade for Oladipo. Now, Bradley Beal is a little bit of a different story because Bradley Beal's contract doesn't expire until the 2022 to 2023 season. So if you want him, then you have to go out and get him. And that he's probably going to be a way high, and it's probably going to be a way heftier price than Victor Oladipo would be. But at the end of the day, what does acquiring Bradley Beal net for the Miami Heat other than another young star that they could build around? Not very much. And if you ask me, I think it would stunt the development of Tyler Hero a little bit. You're paying another player an exorbitant amount of money. I just don't think it makes a lot of sense to gut out your assets to try to trade for Bradley Beal. And for all you know, the Wizards are probably going to ask for something pretty significant in return. Probably a player as important to the fiber of the Miami Heat as Bam Adebayo. No, as a matter of fact, instead of trying to do that, I would focus a little bit more on trying to acquire great defensive players. At the end of the day, I feel like the reason the Heat lost was a combination of inexperience. Just didn't stand a chance against Anthony Davis. So going out to acquire a player like Jeremy Grant could be a little bit enticing, and I think that's probably the greatest acquisition they could possibly make this offseason. And just continuing to acquire good defensive players that could assist them that wouldn't cost a ridiculous amount of money. You see, they went out and they acquired Andre Iguodala, and they paid him for the next 2 years, which is already pretty nice. But at the same time, Andre Iguodala's impact on the Miami Heat and just in the game of basketball is already declining. So they may have been a little bit too trigger happy with the re-signing of Andre Iguodala, but that's fine because he's going to be an expiring contract next year. Derrick Jones Jr. is another great defensive prospect, but he's not really good at stretching the floor, and he's not really good at shooting the three. Then there's other things you have to take into consideration in regards to the Miami Heat's ability to make it back to the NBA Finals. For example, Kevin Durant is finally going to be fully healthy, and the Brooklyn Nets are going to be a huge superpower in the East. And as terrifying as that might be, I just can't help but feel like there is a chance, and I hope I'm wrong, because I never want this to happen to any team. I want to see a team play to their greatest potential, but there is a chance that the Brooklyn Nets' biggest enemy is themselves. You're hearing Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant just saying all these outspoken things that are being twisted out of context. And then you have a rookie head coach in Steve Nash, and you don't know how his abilities are going to be on the offensive coaching end. So the biggest threat to the Miami Heat might kind of defeat themselves for the Miami Heat. As for the rest of the Eastern Conference, it really depends on themselves. It depends on how the Milwaukee Bucks try to appease Giannis Antetokounmpo and try to build a better roster around him. It depends on what the Toronto Raptors do to try to fortify their roster after losing Kawhi Leonard last year. And they clearly missed him this past season. So at the end of the day, I do think the Miami Heat are my personal favorite to make it out of the East, but I could be wrong. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think the Miami Heat need to do? Aside from that, I'm your boy, TheFlightMike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.